abatumari chinatuli, abatumari chinatuli. Ulombela maneno chakulianali, ulombela maneno chakulianali.
I am a hard worker. I don't stop dreaming. I dream just like you. Though life is hard,
I am focused on what I can become.
My eyes are set on the goal.
But not just on the field,
but in life.
I am a man.
I am a girl.
An athlete.
An athlete that inspires.
This is the beginning of a movement.
the start of a dream.
We live in a sports-obsessed world. Everywhere we go, sports seem to dominate the way people live their social lives. And nowhere in the world is that love and passion expressed more vividly than on the African continent. My name is Noel Musicha, and I grew up in Malawi, Africa. Malawi happens to be one of the poorest nations in the world. However, it most certainly doesn't lack passion and desire among its people. Here, you will find some of the most loving and determined people in the world. People who are amidst extreme poverty, but still manage to experience life the best way they know how. People who have dreams, but that don't always get to see their dreams realized because they don't have the proper support or resources. We live in a broken world, a world dominated by poverty, disease, wars, and issues of social injustice. However, with those problems also comes great opportunity. That's the beginning of the Chisomo idea. The Chisomo idea is an African-born grassroots movement connecting the privileged young and young at heart to issues of poverty in Africa and providing them with a framework for action. And one of the ways we wish to accomplish this impact is through sports. And that is why we created Theatre of Dreams. Theatre of Dreams exists to create avenues where young athletes can be trained by seasoned athletes and inspired to give back to their communities through service. Our desire is for the program to be a medium of social transformation in the lives of youth. So I grew up in Lilongwe, and I grew up just like so many other African kids playing the game of soccer. And one of my biggest dreams was to play the game professionally, and that dream became a reality at some point in my life, which I really loved. But yet I also realized, as I'd had opportunities to play for different teams, that not everyone in Malawi had the same opportunity to be able to play the game. And to be able, there are so many kids that were just as talented, if not more talented, so many kids that worked hard, but the reality was, because of where they were born, because of their family backgrounds, because of their socio-economic status, they would never have an opportunity to play the game professionally, and even though that was their dreams. So as soon as I started thinking about that predicament, as soon as I started thinking about this idea that to him whom much has been given, much is required, that thought kept me up at night. And so, because our world is so connected, I started talking with my friends over in Malawi, and at the same time also started talking with my friends over here in the States, and said, what if we did something using the sport, using soccer or football as we call it? What if we did something to begin to give young people a sense of purpose using the sport? And so we got together with a few of our friends here in the States, started talking about the possibility of taking a trip over to Africa. And it was amazing, and it was a team of 6, and so our journey began there. And we said, we're really gonna do this, and this thing is really going to become a reality. And so we boarded the plane.
Titi kambeza mtundu wanga, mtundu wakonde, mtundu wakonde mbwe na male kumamba udali.
So we landed in Malawi about 30 hours of flying later, and we got there exhausted, but at the same time a little eager to really get on it and continue and do what we got there for. And part of our plan was to run clinics. We were going to run these soccer clinics in 8 different townships around the capital of Malawi, in Lilongwe. And so we started hitting one clinic after another, and it was amazing, because we didn't think, when we were leaving the United States, it was just a few individuals, that will land in the country, and hopefully what we will do will matter at all. And we didn't think that our lives could really touch the lives of other people in the way that they did. And we didn't think that other people's lives would touch our own in the way that they did. And so it was just amazing when things began to unfold. And first clinic, made a bunch of excited young people and got to run the clinics with them, but not only do that, but also got to share our own life stories and our faith. And in a moment, we got to see people. You get attached to people so fast, right? It's just one day, it's just one clinic, and you think, oh, it's just going to be that, and tomorrow's is another. So as we finish this, we need to think about continuing on and worrying about tomorrow's clinic. But it doesn't quite work that way. Because when you have seen people, especially young people that do have dreams, but their dreams are about to be robbed out of them because of poverty, and you look at those people in the eyes sincerely, your life doesn't just move on. You don't just do another clinic tomorrow because the story has broken your heart, Increase the pace sometimes, slow down. Increase the pace, slow down. Always find those times in soccer. And so this is what we're going to simulate here. Anyway, so we run a bunch of clinics, and it was awesome. We hit our 8th one. That was great. And so at the very end, we were doing this tournament. And this was the place where amazing was going to happen, It was cool to see all the kids that we had interacted with and coming together and having their own teams. And so we had this whole entire day of young people just running up and down. We had a tournament for boys in soccer, and we had a tournament for actually girls too in soccer. And that was cool in itself to see that these girls would come together and they'll be freed up to be who they can be, who they can be and more. And that was amazing. And then at the end of it, we had set up to do this award show, and we would give awards to people that just did great in that day. And so, women's tournament, most valuable player; men's tournament, most valuable player; and young player of the tournament. It was just all cool to just see as these young people's talents got recognized, but not only us or the team we were working with over in Malawi, but also by their peers and their friends, but with every single one of the awards were amazing and special. But the very last award we gave out was the most valuable player for the men's tournament. I'm telling you, this kid that we met, this kid that won that award was special. And his name was Humphrey Mvula. And throughout the tournament, we were all watching, and I think at the very end, even though we agreed on who won a bunch of different awards, there was kind of still debate, and whether one person says, oh, I think that person should win it, or that person should win it. But with Humphrey, it wasn't even close. It was night and day. And it wasn't just about the way he played the game, and he was exceptional in the way that he played the game. But there was something about the grace with which he carried himself, So we decided to follow his story. We decided to not only get to know him as a football player, but we decided that we were going to really get to meet Humphrey, the person. And so we went over to Kinsapo, where he lives.
Yeah, I use this way
Yeah.
When going to the beaches and every day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, of course.
So you go to school. You would go to school, and then after school, you get back from school. You have your lunch, and then you go to the beach for training.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Every day.
Are there any other things? Okay. So what about this neighborhood would you say you like the most? Chinsapo generally.
Yeah, I like Kinsapo most because during some other holidays I take myself to some other areas like Area 25.
Yeah.
Yeah, those Biwi, Kawale.
Yeah.
But they don't impress me anyway.
Yeah.
I feel like getting back soon.
Yeah.
Just when I have spent just a week there.
Because you feel at home here.
Yeah, I feel at home here.
You grew up,
yeah, soccer everywhere here.
Yeah.
Lots of people who just like sharing ideas and the likes, and not fighting and other things. Yeah, I have good friends here. They don't smoke, they don't drink. Yeah. So I like them most because I can find some other friends there at Area 25 who drink, who smoke. Then it's something difficult for me to chat with them just because I know that something like I can get rich with them. Yeah. Anyway, I can learn those bad practices anyway. That's good, and I'm glad. I always like people that are very proud of their neighborhoods. Regardless of what the area that you grew up in is, you like the neighborhood you grew up in. And again, I like everything from here because I don't even mind how poor I am.
Yeah.
How poor are my friends? How rich are them?
Yeah.
I just mind about my future anyway.
Yeah. That's very good. It's good to know that.
So this township, Chinsapo, that Humphrey grew up in is a low-income community that is located just outside the city of Lilongwe, the capital of Malawi. And yet it just so happens to be right next to one of the richest sections of the country in Area 3. And that in itself unveils one of the long-standing paradoxes of the African experience. A community on one end that has pretty much everything, and on the other end is a community that has pretty much nothing, and they are like right next to each other. But despite how little they have, the people of Chinsapo model so well the Malawian concept of Umuntu, the idea that no one does life alone. And when you enter in Chinsapo, you not only see community, you feel community. Perhaps that is what makes Chinsapo the epicenter of true Malawian culture. One of the finest examples of life being lived out in community happened when we were talking to and interviewing Lina, one of the girls that played in the girls' soccer tournament. We went to her house and her mother was sick and laying in bed, and literally this group of people came from the community and they came to her house and they were not only singing songs with her, but they were almost cheering her on, leading her to wellness. An incredible image of true and authentic community. And then there are kids. When you enter Chinsapo, that is one of the things you notice very quickly. As soon as people get the sense that you're from outside, you're greeted by hundreds and hundreds of kids, and many of these kids don't have much in terms of what they need to make it day to day. But they are kids with great potential, and despite their circumstances, they live lives of incredible and unparalleled joy. So on one end, it is tough to see that at such a young age, they have to endure so much. But then on another, it is inspiring to see that they are incredibly hopeful and incredibly patient and incredibly loving. Yeah. Are there any other things that you would like to share about, football and what football means to you? Who's your biggest idol in football? Who's the person you like the most?
I like
international. Okay, tell me about Malawi first. In Malawi, who's your, apart from me? Obviously, you like me the most.
I like you the most.
No, who's your favorite player playing in Malawi right now?
Playing in Malawi right now, I like the way Lasso Mafria plays.
Lasso?
That's
okay.
a big man. I'm a striker.
Yeah.
I have to like a striker too. Yeah, the likes of that. Then abroad, that's internationally, I like the way Cristiano Ronaldo plays.
Oh, so you like Ronaldo?
Yeah.
I take it are you a Man United fan?
Of course.
Yeah? Maybe you and I shouldn't be talking right now.
Oh.
I'm an Arsenal fan.
Oh,
yeah.
You are the guy.
No, that's good. Yeah, I'm a Ghana.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, but yeah, it's good. I know Ronaldo is very good.
Oh, yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about your life. What are the things that are most important to you?
I feel like the most important thing is just to know God, who is God first. Then everything will be okay. Because I know the one who can guide me anyway.
So to know God.
Yeah.
God is good.
Yeah. So from there, school will come like second from God. Yeah, school.
What is the most specific thing, like if you were going to pick one thing that you would like to become, what would you like to become?
Myself, I like soccer.
Okay.
So after school, being a prayer, then I also try to improve some other young people who know football.
Yeah.
That would be like that.
Okay. Yeah. So what did you say are some of the things that may be that are in your way, that might be hindrances for you to become who you are?
In terms of soccer, when I go to soccer, the equipments I don't have. Sometimes I have them because my father buy me, but some other times I could ball, like I said, 100 kwacha. To me, to some other people, it's so cheap, but to me, it's so expensive. So
you had like 100 kwacha to just use someone's boots for one day?
Yeah, for a day. Because he knew himself that there would be several games. He charged per game.
Oh, wow. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
That he will charge you. But then, so you use someone's boots, paid to use them, and then ended up being the MVP at the tournament. That's amazing. It's very inspiring.
Yeah.
And so, do you feel like part of it is like your upbringing or the area that you grew up with like hinders you from becoming what you can become?
No, the area itself doesn't do much. This is not about the area, no, but the two individuals themselves. Yeah, that's it.
And do you feel like how about just like the economic status of your family? Is it hard to grow up in the family that you're growing up in?
Yeah, in our family, the necessities are very difficult. What I can say is, I think for myself, I'll make everything possible to make my future bright. Otherwise, my future is in my hand. So I just give it to God.
So obviously, we as a team we got to meet Humphrey, and personally I got to talk to him and just ask him a few questions about the tournament itself, and he started telling me his story. It was interesting, to hear that this is a kid that came to the tournament on. He borrowed shoes. Actually, had to pay to borrow someone's shoes to come play in the tournament, and And so when I talked to him, there was something there that resonated. And so I started asking him about his dreams. And so Humphrey started to lay out his dreams, and in that he cared so much about God. That was always his first thing. You know, I care so much about God and just knowing him, because that's important. And then he started talking about education and school, and the fact that he actually works hard in school because he thinks that matters in his life. And then we started talking about football. And when you start talking about football, you can tell this is an amazing passion of his, because something will even turn in him. And then we went over to his place. You know, we went over to his place, and he was laying out his dreams and telling me all these things about his life. And part of me would believe what he is telling me. And I knew that he was sincere about the things that he cared about. I knew that he was sincere about working hard to follow after the life that he feels like God has called him to. You know, I knew that he was just one of those kids who had a great character. But I also knew that there was a problem, and the problem that he had was that as much as he dreamed, that poverty would take everything, would yank out his dreams from the wall. And that absolutely gutted me, you know. That absolutely drove me crazy. Because even though I grew up in Malawi, and I still grew up in a place where if I wanted certain things, that those certain things would still be able to probably happen in my life, you know. And if I wanted to go to school, I knew that my education could be paid for. And to look at a kid like that I think was to just be honest, probably smarter than me, you know, at his age, probably smarter than me now, and really talented. But to feel like I know the ending of his story, like there was something there that just drove me crazy. But we continued to talk. We continued to talk, and then we went over to Humphrey's house, and because family matters so much to Humphrey, began to look at the place where he lives and place where he sleeps, and in every day. And you just wondered as you entered into that home, you know, how can you truly maintain this dream and this hope and coming out of this environment? And I'm certainly not saying that things are everything. Because I've never really been a firm believer in just things and having more. But I'm saying that there are some people out there, there are some of us out there that were set up in an environment where our dreams could happen if we really pursued them. But that not everyone is like that. You know, not everyone is like that.
Yeah, this is my home, and let me show you here. Okay. Yeah. You can get inside. Yeah. This is my sister's bedroom. Yeah. And this one is my parents' bedroom. And here is where we sleep. Where we sleep. Yeah, we are three over here. Myself and two brothers of mine. Yeah. I have my posters there of soccer everywhere. I love soccer.
Tell me about some of it.
Yeah.
Do any of these have any special meaning to you?
What?
Do any of these articles have a special meaning to you?
Yeah, to me, they have special meaning, these posters. I want to reach some stuff like this one, the Ronaldinho's. I like them anyway. They encourage me to continue with my career of soccer. Yeah.
So then in the middle of this like small and dark room, and where Humphrey told us that he lives in there with two other of his brothers, and you sort of wonder for a second how that even happens, like physically, because the room was so tiny. Obviously, I mean, honestly, the size of many of our closets. But one of the things that was even more moving is that in the midst of all of that, when we looked up, was where a bunch of posters on the wall in this dark room, right? There are posters that represent Humphrey's story, you know, and there are posters that represent Humphrey's dream and what he wants to become. And the crazy thing, the powerful thing is that in the midst of all those posters, sort of like in the middle of all of them, was a poster that said, "Don't write me off." And that was moving, because that's what we do as people, you know. We have this tendency to look at people, and when in our own eyes they look hopeless, we say, "Oh, what can that person become?" You know. And sometimes that's the thing. That's what becomes so overwhelming to us. Sometimes that's the reason we get stuck in this like social apathetic posture. Is because we refuse to believe that people's lives could truly change. And so as a community of young leaders, as a movement, we've decided that we will be about that we will not be just about intellectually thinking that we have all the solutions to people's problems, but the one thing that we do is that we get together with people from these communities and we commit to always being curious and to always imagining, to always asking questions, because we know that it is in those questions, that it's in that curiosity, that it's in that imagination where answers to so many of the problems that affect people lie. I think to me, like, you just wish that, you know, for someone that's as talented as you are, that you have everything, you know, that will be able to help you to become who you want to become, you know. So when I truly got to know Humphrey, and when I got to meet his family, and I got to stop by his home and to really see where he comes from, I promised myself that I would never take for granted any other person's story. And I told myself that I promised myself never to forget that. I promised myself never to forget that. And I promised myself that would be my life's personal mission, you know. Like that will be the thing that wakes me out of bed. That because I just
chape matupi kwa nyimbo zao zakala zikuveka mpaka na kale kale.